So let me share my screen. So I hope you all can see the screen.
Yes.
Great. Uh, Good evening, everyone. So I'll just gonna talk about today's topic. So I assume the students that we have here are with a question right in their mind. If I want to go abroad for my higher education, what is the best exam that I need to take with respect to the English proficiency test? So there are quite a few options that are there in the market. For example, IELTS or TOEFL, Duolingo. You might have heard about PTE also. So these are the most commonly appeared or accepted ones. So we just thought, there's a common question that we keep getting from the students, with respect to the best exam that suits them in general. So we are going to talk about this, focusing on these three primarily, with also a bit of touch on the PTE part. So briefly talking about ourselves, the team behind Ubergrad. So Mr. Ravindra is the co-founder of Ubergrad. He comes from BITS Pilani and IIM Kolkata background. So I am Jaideep, one of the co-founders of Ubergrad. So I also look after the events part of the team. So I am handling this today's session just to help you out with respect to today's topic. So what are we going to talk about today? So we have few questions that we try to answer. Obviously, at the end of the session, it's going to be a 30-minute session. At the end of the session, we're going to keep it open for Q&A, where if you have any questions that you believe that are not answered, or maybe something about your particular profile with respect to your study abroad plans, we're more than happy to take it up. But we'll keep it to the end. So let's say if I'm talking about something and you have a question and an extension to what I've talked in the webinar, it'll be great if you can drop it as a question in the chat. Definitely, I'll look up all the questions that are asked at the end and then try to answer them. And obviously, you can also unmute yourself at the end. So that's about the plan for the today's session. So I'm going to first talk about the importance of the English proficiency test. Like, why do we need to take it? What is the purpose behind it? So what is the impact that it will have with respect to how good my score should be for an admission chance into a good university? Would that help me actually to increase my chances of getting scholarships, assistantships? What is the difference between the IELTS, TOEFL, and Duolingo? And finally, which exam fits me, or what should I choose? Obviously, the final answer would be taken by you, but we're just going to talk about few pointers that I believe would help you to do a little bit further research, and then sort of take a call on what fits your profile and your goals. And as I said, finally, we keep it open for Q&A for another 10-15 minutes. And you can happily, go through it. I mean, discuss the things that you have, and we can move ahead with the session. So the first point, obviously, what I believe most of us would be already aware of, just to reiterate it, the most important reason why I or any student who wants to plan for higher education abroad, like US, UK, Australia, Canada, even European countries, since we would be doing an English-speaking course fundamentally, is that every university for an international student would ask him or her to prove their capability with respect to English language proficiency. So I've just taken one example, Arizona State University in USA. So if you see, there's just a screenshot that I picked up from the university's website. You could clearly see, maybe if it's not clear, I'll just read out the key points, that they are asking you to do this. You must meet one of the following English language proficiency requirements, be it TOEFL or IELTS or PTE or Duolingo, right? And they have a minimum score that they're asking about as a basic criteria. This one is a more at a university level criteria. Again, some departments or programs might have slightly more higher cutoffs. It's again case to case basis. I've just taken on a very general level. So this is the fundamental reason why we are going to look at this English language proficiency test, because every university asks for it and you need to prove it that you are fundamentally good with this language by taking this exam. But just to take it further, right? I'm gonna take a minute to jump into the website of a Zubergrad, where you would find the importance of the English proficiency test. I'll just show you a couple of programs. Obviously, you need to log into it to see the details. I'll just log into my account for now. So let's say as I told you for Arizona State University, right? Let me show the same thing. I'll just search for this. If you go deeper into the courses that are listed, I'll show for a couple of courses, the criteria, the admission requirements, which you can easily find it over here. Let's say I'm talking about computer science. Right. If you see it, you can clearly see the TOEFL, you need to get minimum 90, the IELTS is 7. Though 6.5 is the university level cutoff for this program like computer science, the department has decided slightly higher cutoff, a Duolingo of 120. Maybe for some other program, just let's say information technology, you might see slightly lower cutoffs. Here it's the same, but sometimes you do see for other programs, sometimes you might see. But more or less, the point is that you need to understand that the requirements ideally would do with GRE, GMAT, depending on the type of program. That's to prove your aptitude. But then the other side of it is your English proficiency, which is basically your TOEFL, IELTS, and Duolingo, right? So that's obviously the fundamental reason why we are, as a student, you need to look at for an English proficiency test is because you need to clear the cutoff. If you don't, irrespective of how good your profile is, you are not going to get a chance to get evaluated. Let's say university has a cutoff of 6.5 and you have everything else that they need, be in terms of academics, be in terms of your extracurriculars or work experience or CGPA, be it a research background, and GRE or GMAT, the aptitude score, despite having everything really good as per the university's criteria of general admission. But if you don't clear the basic criteria, obviously you will not be even evaluated, and which basically means you are just wasting out your chance by applying to that university. So just showing an extension of this topic. So number one, as I said, English language proficiency tests are basically to help you clear the basic cut of the admission requirements. The extension of it is that if you score well, you actually have a chance to really improve your chance of getting scholarships and assistantships. Let me just reiterate this, that it's not that only your English language proficiency alone will get you scholarships or assistantships. You need certain other things also depending on the criteria of the university. But a good English proficiency score would obviously add more weight to your profile. So for example, if a university says 6.5 is cut off, it would expect the students eligible for scholarship or assistantships to be having a better English proficiency scores like 7, especially in the speaking, when it comes to the assistantship. Since you are expected to work in campus, your communication skills are actually even more important over there, verbal skills. So that's why they do put an extra criteria that you need to have a better score than the basic cutoff. So I've just pulled out some of our, our own students' profiles to just show you this, that like what led them to get scholarships, highlighting certain elements of the profile, right? So if you see this, obviously this particular student has a great CGPA, good, a decent GRE score, I would say, for an Arizona State University level, for example. Limited work experience and decent research exposure, but you could clearly see that the student has a good IELTS score 7. For ASU, it's a cutoff. That's why the student did not get any scholarship or anything. But on the other side, if you can see the other university, Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, it's not as highly ranked as ASU, for example. But for that, the cutoff would be 6 or 6.5. And the rest of the elements in terms of your CGPA and the GRE scores are also standing out for student competing for Southern Illinois at University Edwardsville, which actually led the student to get 100% tuition waiver for that particular program. Right. Then maybe you can look at another profile, for example, again, got into Wichita State University. Comparatively, he also got into Dakota State University, which is slightly lower ranked than Wichita State. But again, they got a very discounted tuition fee, I would say the in-state tuition fee, plus an assistantship, the graduate assistantship. GA is like you'll be working within the campus, not as a teaching or research, but rather in library or the canteen or something like that, where you would be doing the fundamental job and you will be paid at a $12 to $14 per hour, depending on where you are located in fundamental. But again, fundamental English proficiency scores are very important for you to be eligible for the scholarships and assistantships. Again, the third example for Texas Tech University, student has very decent profile for this university with respect to all other elements. Again, a minimum IELTS score, which is above the cutoff of that 6 would be the ideal cutoff for it. But slightly better IELTS is standing the person out to get, increase the chance of getting scholarships and assistantships. So something similar over here also in University of Illinois, Chicago. So what I'm trying to tell you is this, that with taking the English language proficiency as the basic criteria to clear, you should also understand you need to do better than the basic criteria. to actually get scholarships or assistantships, right? That's the key point I was trying to drive here. Now the comparison part, right? So obviously the critical topic of the today's session, IELTS versus TOEFL versus PT. We have also added PT and Duolingo. These are the four most commonly, attempted or rather compared English proficiency tests. If you are an international student looking to go for an English speaking course in foreign universities. So the basic comparison is this: IELTS is still the only exam which lets you take paper-based. Yes, TOEFL has started actually recently, very limited slots, but still TOEFL is also trying to give you an option to take a paper-based test as well. But IELTS is much more known and has given you more slots to take paper-based. Otherwise, most of them, including IELTS, the maximum amount of slots are all for computer-based tests. So fundamentally, if you are a person who wants to take a paper-based, I think you have only IELTS as a choice. But if you're open to it, with respect to the computer-based, I think all of them are equally, similar in terms of the difficulty part. I mean, the interface and the exam experience part. The speaking is again unique in IELTS. It's basically you have to go separately. Even if you take a computer-based test, you have to go and talk to a person. It'll be like a 10 to 15 minutes interview sort of thing. You need to do that. Just give me a second. I'll just have to let someone in. Bear with me. Yeah. So I was saying you that IELTS is the only test where you can sit in front of trainer or evaluator and you need to give your speaking round. Whereas all other tests, TOEFL, PT, and Duolingo, you are expected to talk to the computer and give your speaking round as well. So most of the students I have seen actually feel a little bit more comfort talking to a human because fundamentally we are used to do that, right? We are not humans who are used to talk to a computer and assume that we are recording it and they are understanding what we're trying to say. When you do a speaking round face to face, the advantage you get, obviously nervousness could affect in a negative way, but if you can control the nerves to an extent, the advantage I would say that I've heard from students and personally I also feel is that you actually have a human seeing in front of you and you get the reactions from them. They'll also support you if you're stuck with something, taking the topic ahead, giving you a direction. So that's gonna help you to actually not stop for the entire session when you're recording, rather you are talking to a human. The duration of test more or less stays the same. TOEFL has actually cut down the duration of test because it's slightly longer than the others. Duolingo is one test which is actually for 1 hour. So it's like a slightly more shorter format and sort of gives you a little bit relaxed environment since it's just a 1 hour test where you have to focus and complete the entire exam. Even in that, the last 10-15 minutes are a little bit non-scoring aspects like an essay and an interview question, which again are sent to the universities but not really used for your scoring. The cost aspect wise, IELTS, TOEFL, PT comes more or less at the same level, close to $200, $190. Duolingo is again the cheapest of the lot, which is actually maybe less than 100, like $60, $70 is what they are charging you for that. The score ranges are slightly different, so not really much useful element. They are band scores of IELTS from 0 to 9, TOEFL is from 0 to 120, Duolingo is from 10 to 160. But all the universities would obviously have their cutoffs with respect to, having the relevant bands. Like if I say IELTS 6.5, I would expect your Duolingo score to be like 120, 115, 125. TOEFL to be 90, 92, whatever. So that's what they believe are equivalent, comparisons across them. The sections are the same: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Duolingo have named them slightly differently, like literacy, production, comprehension, and conversation. The part about Duolingo is that they do integrated test tasks like TOEFL and PT. For example, you're supposed to listen to something and then write an answer. So that means you're doing your listening as well as writing. Or sometimes it can also be something like you're supposed to read and then you have to write an essay, a short essay, like where you are doing reading plus writing. So these are all called integrated tasks where you are doing two modules together. IELTS is the only exam which actually again makes it a little bit easier compared to others, where you have 4 independent modules where you don't do any other task. Like if I'm doing listening, I'm only doing listening and answering simple one-word answers or multiple choice questions. When it comes to the TOEFL, PT, Duolingo, you are actually expected to do integrated tasking, which is you're supposed to listen at the same time, understand, and then write a summary of it, which again sort of complicates for some students. To be very frank, at a fundamental level, if your basics sorted, I would say it's all the same. All the tests have a different format, but the difficulty wouldn't make much difference. But if you are someone who is not really comfortable with English language and have to work towards improving it, I keep insisting that IELTS would actually stand out with respect to the impact of acceptance. I mean, how many universities accept it, and also the easiest of the lot. Finally, the validity is same for everything, 2 years. So if you take tests today, you can apply to universities for the next 2 years. So again, I insist students that don't wait till the end, before you just apply and start taking the coaching and preparing for the exams. It's fundamentally helping you to improve your English language. It's going to help you, and it's going to stand for 2 years, the validity is. So if you have decided to go abroad in next 1.5 year, it makes sense that you start working towards these tests as soon as possible, so that you actually can improve your chances of getting a good score earlier, and make sure you are done with this exam, and then you can focus on the other things like SOP, shortlisting universities, and all of the other stuff. The score would definitely come in a week to two. So if you take a paper-based test, IELTS is slightly delayed. It's going to take 2 weeks. But all other computer tests, including IELTS tests, would actually come in 5 days, 4 days. Duolingo is slightly, much quicker. It gives you in 2 to 3 days. So just to put you in picture, Duolingo is the cheapest of the lot. Duolingo is shortest of the lot, and also gives you a quick score. And to be very frank, I would also say, if you are looking to get the easiest of the exam, Duolingo has the slight edge in terms of difficulty being on the lower side. The biggest disadvantage with Duolingo, right? I'm going to talk about that next, is that the acceptance is very limited. The Duolingo has been started to, get accepted since last 2-3 years. So I'll just show you a couple of examples also to highlight what I'm talking about. This is one university, for example, in Canada. Maybe text is not big enough, but they said the criteria of Duolingo has changed, and the cutoffs have been increased for Duolingo, which was slightly lower earlier. But the key point, if you see the last most one, the third point, is that we are continuing to accept Duolingo tests on a temporary basis as post-secondary institutions in British Columbia. It's a province in Canada. So all the universities within the British Columbia have been advised by the government to stop using this test as an accepted test for the English proficiency purpose from September 2023. So we are getting sort of a couple of other universities in USA also which are saying we're not going to accept home-based tests, which fundamentally mean TOEFL at home as well as Duolingo. They would not be accepted for their application. So a lot of universities are moving away from accepting Duolingo. So that sort of is also a negative of it. So I'll also show you this part, which is how many universities are accepting the Duolingo, right? So I've just clicked on it. Give me a second. So if you just go to the website of Duolingo, you see that accepting institutions, you can see them, right? And if I just go by the postgraduate, that's a graduate or postgraduate program, you will see that not more than like 1100 universities or programs accepting it. Again, if you see one of them in Germany, one in Czech and all, but you see USA is slightly a little bit better in terms of acceptance. Again, if I go for UK and Canada, it's a very limited acceptance for that, so you can clearly understand Duolingo is an option to be considered if you are stuck with very limited, universities that you're looking at, and by luck, they are accepted. I'll also show you one more thing. If you just come to our website, let's say I am a student who wants to apply for, computer science in United States, right? So I'll just go ahead and click on it. So let me see all the programs that are offered. And here you have filters where we have specifically given how many universities are accepting or which programs are accepting Duolingo. If you see that, I can see starting from MIT, Stanford, Harvard to a lot of universities, right, which are top universities. If I just click on the Duolingo acceptance, right, you will see that quite a few go off. You won't see them, right? You see, you didn't see MIT, Stanford, not necessarily MIT, Stanford alone, but if you just scroll and just compare, and you can just do this exercise within our website itself where we have given this filter, you would see that not more than 50-40% of universities in USA are accepting the Duolingo. And that's the best country which is accepting Duolingo. Right. If you look at Canada and UK, it's a very bad percentage. I would say less than 10% where you see that Duolingo acceptance. And even that, as I was showing you here, that the Canadian government is moving towards the direction where they're trying to discourage Duolingo being accepted. So keeping that in mind, I strongly recommend people to first, do one thing. Like if you just go to a website, just fill out these profile details, right? Let's say I want to go to United States and I want to do analytics. Let's say I'm just changing something else. and I haven't taken any exams, but let's say I just give an average GRE score, and then I'm gonna just do an average IELTS, right? And then I'll give my whatever my CGPA is 7.5, 75%. And again, if you see, these are the kind of universities you can look for your profile. Go ahead and look at this Duolingo accepted programs. See how many are accepting for you, right? And see if you're in terms of your tuition, in terms of all other factors. Then take a call if it's worth that taking a look at Duolingo, or is it better that you go for IELTS? Purely in terms of acceptance and the what do you call it, ease of taking it, IELTS stands out the best part. Right. TOEFL is also very good, very well accepted in US, Canada, UK to an extent. At a global level, IELTS stands number one in terms of acceptance. So that's the reason why I always tell people that take that as your priority, because most accepted exam means you're not missing out on any university after you take the exam. All it matters is how good your score and how good your profile is in terms of the academics or other factors, which can actually help you to decide to apply what kind of university I should look at. But if you write Duolingo, for example, yes, it's cheaper, yes, it's shorter. And I do recommend to take a look at Duolingo for two kinds of people, to be very frank. When you are looking at certain set of universities and you've decided on those 4, 5 universities, and by luck, all of them are accepting Duolingo, go ahead, take the test, because there's no difference in terms of universities, giving you a chance just because you have taken Duolingo or IELTS. If I am a university and I accept both IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo, let's say, I won't, sort of put someone down just because they've taken Duolingo or IELTS. You clear the cutoff, and I'm happy. But my problem is this, that not many universities are accepting Duolingo. So that's why I recommend people first, for example, Ubergrad is a website where you can do all of this research for free. So I would recommend that you go ahead and then sort of look at kind of universities that fit your profile and see how well the Duolingo is accepted. If it is very well accepted for your profile and you believe that these are the kind of universities I'm happy to apply for, and I would say go ahead and take that Duolingo, because you have the lowest cost for it and it's the shortest exam, easiest exam. But the reality is that for 80 to 90% of students, Duolingo can never give you a good range of universities. It always limits the type of universities and kind of universities you can apply for. So that sort of leads you to the IELTS or TOEFL. Right? Both of them are very well accepted. You will not have a disadvantage with one over the other. The only point, again, I'll reiterate, is that don't take TOEFL at home. If you are taking the test with all your efforts and preparation, take that extra step to go ahead and do TOEFL at center if you want to write TOEFL. Because that's fundamentally, a lot of universities are, sort of not accepting TOEFL at home tests, which can actually unnecessarily lead to a rejection if you have taken that choice. So it's better that you go ahead and, take at center, whether it's IELTS or TOEFL. Compared to IELTS and TOEFL, fundamentally, over years, I've been hearing from the students, and even my personal opinion is that IELTS is a little bit more, figured out exam. What I mean by that is a lot of material, a lot of training is happening, where it's easy for you to actually crack the exam with little bit of support and training from good trainers and mentors. And you have a lot of material also which lets you to take practice and score well. That sort of is edging out IELTS over the TOEFL, because otherwise both of them are equally good in terms of everything. Cost is same, the validity is same, the acceptance is same. It's just that IELTS is relatively a little bit more easier, a little bit more structured course material that's available, which sort of makes IELTS most attempted in the world. Even if you look at the data, IELTS is like much more attempted than TOEFL or Duolingo across the world, not just in India. So keeping all of this in mind, I would say that you can further do your research to understand, what fits you better. So as I told you, the best way that I recommend is that you go to the website of Ubergrad. Just you have to create an account. After that, you would have all these recommendations that you get based on your profile. Or let's say even if you have decided on the course type that you want to study, you can happily go and select as I was telling you, and then you will get all the recommendations. And again, you can filter out. But the only constraint you will see is that I am actually an upgrade to silver member, which is not given by default. You are given an opportunity to upgrade to bronze by default, as in for free. But for silver, you have to pay a 1,000 rupee. But again, you can actually get it done for free by doing a certain set of tasks in our wallet. You can also watch these videos on how to earn the coins and how to redeem them, right? Which would give you enough information where you can not only get those things, you can also prepare for the IELTS and GRE for free. We're giving a lot of free material. And one more important thing that I want to talk about is that we are actually starting free IELTS live classes from the 1st of the May. If you are someone who is looking to prepare for IELTS, the good news is that you can enroll for free. The entire course, which is going to span over a month, live classes taken by our expert trainers who are British Council certified trainers who have trained for more than 10 years, and you can see our success stories and all. You will get all these details shared over email and WhatsApp. So it's going to start from the May 1st. You can happily, look at this and then enroll. All you need to do, again, no fee payment. It's just a free thing that we are doing from the 1st of May. You have to just click on enroll now, create an account, and then happily attend the course and get access to all the recordings and worksheets and mock tests and all of that as part of this, as an offer that we are rolling out at introductory level. So that's another thing I wanted to tell. So finally, I'll just take 2 more minutes on this part, how Ubergrad can help you. Like, if you're not aware of what we do as a full-fledged service, we not only help you with respect to the preparation part, we actually have our own AI-enabled algorithms that helps you to give you a best fit universities for your profile. Whatever your CGPA be, whatever your aim or goal with respect to the master courses that you're trying to do, you can feed out all this information in our tool, or rather the algorithm that we've built, and it will give you a very good refined set of universities. Again, you can filter them out based on the criteria like GRE waiver, tuition fee, states, Duolingo acceptance, West evaluation requirement being there, not there, right? So again, as a silver member, you get all of these filters open. You get the algorithms, even the pro algorithm for free. You can get your SOP LR reviewed if you become a silver member. We have partnerships with a lot of universities, and you can get the waivers also if you apply through us. And we have smart application tracker where you get to get the entire process structured in a to-do list for you with sample SOPs, sample applications, and all of that. So you can do it on yourself, or you can even take help of our experts. Obviously, you'll also get support at visa and loan level, right? We have partnered with multiple loan companies, so we can help you to get your education loan sorted out as well. So all I'm going to say is that we are going to help you from the step one to the last step, right from doing the research, preparing for the exams, shortlisting universities, applying to universities, getting your enrollments done, and get your visa and fly with your loan and other scholarships elements sorted as well. So we are a full-fledged service, and you can actually get all of this just by becoming a silver member, or you can also upgrade to gold if you need our experts to help you even more detailed. And getting the silver is for free, as I told you. You just have to do certain basic actions in the website. So first, just explore, uh, log into the website, see the basic features, and if you really like, our team can help you to upgrade to silver and get you more features unlocked. So that's about it, today's session. So I think I have taken 30 minutes to complete what I wanted to. So I'm open to questions. If you have any questions with respect to this, the English proficiency test, what is the difference, and if you have anything that you want to talk about your profile, I'm more than happy to, help you out, or giving our advice or our opinions with respect to that. Right. So now we are open, guys. So more than happy to, help you out. So you can unmute or put it in the chat if you have any questions, if you have any doubts with respect to this topic or in general your study abroad plans. Thank you, Vijay, for that kind message. So I'm happy to hear. Uh, Good words. Great. Any others? If you have questions, I'll just wait for a minute or two. If not, I just want to let you know a couple of things again. You will be updated on that again, but just to reiterate, we are starting live IELTS classes, so you can attend it for free. All you have to do is click on the enroll now button and get access. And number two, we are doing more events. Going forward, so you can actually enroll for more events so that you get more information from our side. And if you need any help, you can always reach out to our support team, our counselor experts, by just clicking on this book a schedule time, and we'll be more than happy to clear all your doubts. Any more questions before we wrap this up? Great then. So as I said, you will get the recording as well to your mail, as well as you will get all the details with respect to the IELTS course that we are doing and other events that we are planning for the near future. So please feel free to use the make best use of what we are providing, and all of that is available for free. And as I said, you can always reach out to our team to get your doubts or any specific personal counseling that you need. Right. Thanks a lot, guys. So I'm just ending up the session. Okay, great. So